Charlotte with Freezer Meals 101, and today we are making all breakfast stuff for the freezer. I actually ran out of breakfast things like quite a while ago, and some of the kids have been complaining. The last time that I did a huge mega make-ahead breakfast marathon thing, I will link that there so you can check out those recipes. But the kids absolutely loved the breakfast sandwiches. They enjoyed actually the burritos as well, but I'm not gonna make burritos again today. Today we're gonna try a few brand new recipes, and then we're gonna do some super simple things. We're making some more breakfast sandwiches because those were such a hit last time. I've enlisted one of my daughters to help me. She's gonna be on the griddle making pancakes, and we're gonna put some blueberries in some and some chocolate chips in some, and some of them will be plain. I'm gonna make breakfast cookies, which I have never eaten. Never made them, and I've never eaten them. So I kind of invented a recipe this morning. I found some recipes online, but a lot of them called for almond flour, and one of our daughters has a nut allergy, and it's anaphylactic nut allergy, so we don't have almond flour in the house for obvious reasons. So we're gonna avoid that. And so I hope this recipe will work. I looked at a lot of recipes, so I think I get the general idea of how it will work. So hopefully this will work. And I think they'll be on the healthy side. And what else are we doing? We're gonna do some hash brown casseroles, which we always love, and they're so nice to just have in the freezer and be able to pull out. And we're gonna make some mini breakfast quesadillas. I think those are gonna be delicious too. Similar to the burritos, so the people that loved the burritos last time will probably really love those. And if we have time, we're gonna pull out my brand new mini waffle maker, and it's in the shape of a heart, which I know is not very practical, but it makes me happy. So, totally makes me smile. So I'm excited by the thought of making some buttermilk waffles in that mini waffle maker, and just to get things, keep things moving along, we'll also make some regular size ones so that we can get them all going and get an assembly line type of thing happening. So, thank you for joining me today. We're gonna get started, and I'll explain things as I go along. I will also put some recipes in the description below so that if you want to make these at home, you can. If you are not already a subscriber, then I invite you to subscribe and like this video. If you have questions for me, ask in the comments, and I will be sure to answer those for you. Yeah, let's get started. Okay, so for the breakfast sandwiches, I have already fried up the sausage patties, and those are completely ready to go. I've got them sitting on some paper towel just to take out some of the grease. This is a dozen eggs, and then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of milk and some salt and pepper, and whisk that up. I'm going to pour that into a greased baking dish, glass baking dish, like a 9x13, and put it in the oven. This is the best way I've found. In my last video, I struggled quite a bit. I made them in muffin tins first, and that just didn't have the right size and didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So this time, we're going to do it the way that is guaranteed to work from the beginning. So I'm just gonna whisk this up, pour it into the baking dish, and get that in the oven. It's gonna bake at 325 for 18-20 minutes, probably 20. You don't want to overcook it, because when you microwave these on the day you make them, they're going to continue cooking. That's a lot of chocolate chips. Oh, it's cute. We are trucking along. I'm about to start the breakfast cookies, and over there we've got some blueberry pancakes happening, and over there we've got some chocolate chip pancakes. So things are coming along very smoothly. We've also got those eggs in the oven. The sausages are all cooked, so the breakfast sandwiches are going to be ready to assemble very soon. Okay, so breakfast cookies. I've got 2 cups of oats in here. And I'm going to add 2 cups of applesauce. And it's kind of a little more than 2 cups, but I figured I might as well finish off the container. And better to have too much than not enough. I don't know anything about breakfast cookies, but I'm imagining you don't really want them to be too dry. So we got our applesauce, and then we're going to add some vanilla. We're going to add 2 eggs, some cranberries. I'm going to do about a 1 cup of dried cranberries and about a 1/2 cup of sunflower seeds. And then we're going to do some apple pie spice, the vanilla, some oil, some flax seed, probably 2 tablespoons of flax seed. And then we will mix it together. If it needs some extra moisture, I'll add a little tiny bit of either melted coconut oil or olive oil. I feel like it's not like it's too runny. I know I said that we wanted moisture, but I think it's like too runny. So I'm gonna add some more oats, 1/2 cup, and we'll see how it looks after that. I think that looks a lot better. So we're gonna go with that. I'm gonna get these on a baking sheet and get them in the oven. They're gonna go in a 350-degree oven for 15 minutes. Let's hope this works. Okay, I have no idea if this is what they're supposed to look like, but we are going to pop them in the oven, and my kids are going to be the taste testers, and then we'll know for sure. A few things that I forgot to mention with pancakes. One is that we went all fancy, and no, I'm just kidding. We used a pancake mix. Couldn't get easier than this. Seriously, that giant pancake mix from Costco, that's what we used. And like I said, we added blueberries to some, chocolate chips to some, and this little one there, is that not the cutest thing? It's a little duck with a chocolate chip eyeball. We used a mini chocolate chip for that. Anyway, so the thing to remember when you're making pancakes for the freezer is you need to lay them flat on a baking sheet and put the baking sheet in the freezer. Once they are frozen, then you can transfer them into a freezer bag, get all the excess air out, and put them back in the freezer. The reason you need to do that is so that they don't stick together and you can take out one at a time. That way you can heat them up in the microwave or in the toaster or toaster oven, and you will have breakfast served. So we did a little bit of cleanup just to kind of get a fresh start from like cleaned up the pancake things and that kind of thing in some of the dishes. Dishwasher is running, which you can probably hear, sorry about that. And now we're just finishing up baking the breakfast cookies, and I'm about to start on the breakfast sandwiches and assembling those. But we also have got, we've diced some peppers for the breakfast quesadillas, that are the mini breakfast quesadillas that we're about to make, and I'm browning some breakfast sausage on the stove for those as well. So we're going to cut these into squares, or this pan of eggs into squares. I'm supposed to do 12, but I always do more than 12 because that way I can stretch it a little further and make some more breakfast sandwiches. So I'm gonna get started with that. So to assemble these breakfast sandwiches, all you have to do is split apart your English muffins, which I've already done, because actually that takes a little bit of time. That's a great job for getting one of your kids to help you do. And then you're gonna do a piece of egg and a proteins, like a meat. So you can either do one of these like breakfast sausage patties, which I've cooked up, or you can do bacon or Canadian bacon, which is also known as back bacon. And then we're going to top that with cheese and put the top back on top, and then you have to wrap them either in foil, parchment paper, or plastic wrap. And once they're wrapped tightly, then you're gonna put them into a resealable freezer bag. And that is going to ensure that the bread doesn't harden and get gross. So when you take them out of the freezer, you can take them out one at a time and just put them on a paper towel and heat them in the microwave. Some people like to take the top off when they're putting them in the microwave and then replace it after and take the, have the bun out of the microwave. That's just a trick that some of my kids do. You can do it however you prefer. And I'm gonna make 18 because that's the amount of eggs we got from the one pan. I know that this isn't going to last me a whole long time because we do have a large family. And like I said earlier, the kids were really big fans of these breakfast sandwiches. But Christy and I are actually doing a huge marathon freezer meal session next weekend. And if I make as many of these as I normally do, I'm not gonna have enough room in my freezer for our freezer meals. It'll be all full of breakfasts and snacks because I just made snacks the other day and filled the freezer with those. So here we go. So I'm just going to add these into these reusable silicone freezer bags, and then the kids can take them out when they want to heat them up for breakfast. And this is done. Okay, so we are about, I would say if I include the time that I used to prep the sausages and things like that, probably in about 2 hours right now, although I have to be honest and say it has felt like longer because I had 2 things going on the stovetop at all times, and I had both of my ovens going. I have a double oven, so I had both ovens going with the I had the breakfast cookies in the oven and the eggs for the breakfast sandwiches, so it got really hot in here. That's why it's better to do freezer meals in the winter when your house isn't hot. It's also better to do freezer meals in the winter because if you run out of space in your freezer, you can put things outside, or if you're doing it with a friend, they can put their things in a box or a laundry basket outside and they'll freeze throughout the day as you're adding them to their stash to take home. So that's another reason that it's good to do freezer meals in the winter, but we have to eat all year round, so I do make freezer meals all year round. Anyway, breakfast cookies. So this is what they look like, and I'm gonna be honest and say that I don't think they should be called breakfast cookies because I think that's a little bit deceiving. And if you tell your kids oh, I've got a breakfast cookie for you, and they get all excited and they bite into it expecting a cookie, they're gonna be disappointed. I had taste testers and they liked them, so it's not that they don't like them, but they think that I should call them oatmeal bites or oatmeal drops or something because they taste like baked oatmeal. So they do taste good, but they're not like a cookie. So if your kids are gonna object, if they think they're getting a cookie and they get a baked oatmeal bite, then just tell them it's baked oatmeal bite. Anyway, I actually sent some over to Christy's for her and her kids and husband to taste test them too, because I always like to get more opinions when I'm trying a new recipe, and I told her the same thing. I was like, they're officially breakfast cookies, but don't think of them that way. So we are now going to move to the hash brown casserole and the mini breakfast quesadillas. So the breakfast quesadillas are going to be really simple to put together. You just grab your little mini quesadilla. Okay, so you're just gonna take your flour tortilla and add some of this scrambled egg mixture that has the peppers and onions in there. And then I guess I'm gonna lay it down. Now the reason that I have a cookie sheet out is because this is the same as the pancakes. We're going to lay them out flat on a cookie sheet and freeze them. And then once they're frozen, we'll take them out and bag them so that they can be pulled out individually and don't stick together. So on half of our tortilla, we'll put some egg mixture. I forgot a spoon, hold on. Okay, so we're going to add some cooked ground breakfast sausage. You could also add bacon to these if you prefer. This is just what I made today because it was easier. And then you're going to do some cheese. So just sprinkle some cheese on top. I'm using a habanero blend because we like things a little spicy. And my kids will probably add salsa to these when they have them, when they're being served. And you could heat these up in the toaster oven or microwave, or you could quickly fry them in a frying pan if you don't want them to get mushy from the microwave. So we'll just keep going here. So I'll get these popped in the freezer, and I'm actually gonna pull out the pancakes that are on the cookie sheets and put them into bags. I've already started with some back there, and we'll just keep on going with that. And then I'm going to do the hash brown casseroles, which are super easy. Not like the healthiest recipe in the whole world, but super easy. So we have another bag full of the pancakes. Now, as with everything that you freeze, you want to make sure that you get all the air out that you possibly can, because air is what causes your freezer burn. So just want to be really careful about that, and you'll be glad you did it later. I just finished saying that this isn't the healthiest recipe in the world, and then I had an idea. So I think I'm actually going to use the leftover red and yellow peppers in here. I don't see why it wouldn't taste good, because when we make just hash browns, we add peppers and onions all the time. So I really don't see any reason why not. They also taste good with cheese, so everything in here is going to taste good with the peppers, and the peppers will make it a little bit healthier. So the reason I'm making 2 of these, I always do like to have one in my freezer even though they're really easy, but I'm making a second one this time because it's Mother's Day coming up, and I asked my kids to make me brunch. This will make it super easy. They can still make eggs or something, or bacon or whatever else they want to make, but they can just dump from the bag into a casserole dish, put it in the oven, or it actually works in the crock pot too. So either way, they can make a really nice brunch item, and it's easier for them, and I'll know what went in it. So better for me too. Anyway, so I went ahead and melted some butter in here. Unfortunately, just because of the size of the bags of hash browns, I can only make one of these in the bowl at one time, but we are gonna make 2. So I've got a can of mushroom soup, and I'm adding that to the melted butter, and we're gonna add some salt and pepper. Sometimes I add some paprika into here, or even some taco seasoning if I want to make, like, if I want to add jalapenos and make it more of like a Tex-Mex thing. The thing about this recipe is it's really versatile. I've been making it for a lot of years, and it's just versatile, easy, and really hard to mess up. So we're gonna mix together the mushroom soup and the butter, melted butter, and then we're going to add our salt and pepper, and onions, peppers, and cheese. I went ahead and grated some sharp cheddar cheese, so I'm going to add at least a cup of that, maybe more. I'm just gonna add half of what I grated, which is kind of a lot, but The more cheese, the better, right? Okay, and then we're gonna do the onions, the peppers, and the hash browns, and that's it. I told you it was simple. Super easy. And then when you bake it, you just want to put it in like a 350-degree oven for like 45 minutes to an hour. And then if you put it in the crock pot, you will need to have it in there for quite a few hours, like depending on if you have on high or low. Okay, and this is gonna be nice and colorful too because I used purple onions, which I only did because I happened to have them already cut up, and that saved time. So we've got our peppers. If you're looking for freezer meal dinner ideas, Christy and I are going to be doing that mega marathon session in about a week. So be sure to subscribe and hit that little bell to get notifications when the new videos come. And then you can see when that video goes up and get tons of great ideas because we are excited. We always love our freezer meal days, and every time we try some new recipes and we make some experiment invention kind of recipes too, and those usually turn out really well. Actually, the last time we made freezer meals, we had some leftover Italian sausage, spicy Italian sausage, and it was already cooked and everything, and we had leftover onions, so we actually made a hash brown casserole very similar to this. We did add a can of evaporated milk to it in addition to the can of mushroom soup, and we added that spicy Italian sausage, and it was good. It was like heartier than this, of course, because it had the sausage, but more of like a main brunch dish than a side, and it worked really well. So that was actually one of our inventions at the end of our last freezer meal session. Ooh, I will put that invention recipe right there. And you can check that out if you want to see exactly how we made that breakfast casserole. So that's it. I'm just going to spoon this into a large freezer bag, and then we'll get started on the other one. If you live on your own, or there's just two of you, or you have a smaller family, and you want to make this into several, you would just use medium-sized bags or put them into small little foil containers or casserole dishes, and that way you could get probably 2 or 3 out of this same recipe, and there's really no reason why not, and it takes you just as long, so it's you'd be pretty happy to have them all in there. So just keeping it real, I took a bit of a break to go and do some things with the kids, and I like packaged up the mini breakfast quesadillas. Aren't those cute? Anyway, and I put all the pancakes in bags and like got everything all sorted and put the breakfast cookies away. Breakfast cookies. Anyway, and now because I took that break and it is starting to be evening, I totally do not feel like making waffles. However, I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to do it because of the video, because I did tell you in the very beginning that I might not do the waffles. I'm going to do it because I really want to try this adorable little mini waffle maker. And I feel like tomorrow I'm going to regret if I didn't do it, because if I do it, then tomorrow I can have a little mini heart-shaped waffle for breakfast. And that feels like it would be worth it for me. So anyway, the recipe for these comes from this like homeschool book, like where homeschool families contributed their recipes. It is like 20 years old. Well, maybe not quite 20, but it's like 15 probably. So I've had it forever. I actually got some of my chicken freezer meal recipes out of here, or I adapted them from here anyway. So this is the recipe. 2 cups flour, I'm doubling it, so 4 cups, but you know. 2 cups flour, 1 tablespoon sugar, half a teaspoon salt, 2 tablespoons baking powder, 2 large eggs lightly beaten, 1 1/3 cups buttermilk, 1 1/3 cups milk, 4 tablespoons melted butter or oil. So I'm going to double that. You whisk the dry ingredients together, then you add the other ingredients and mix until just combined. And then you cook your waffles like you would normally cook waffles. So that is the buttermilk waffle recipe that I have been using for a very long time. And that's what we're gonna use today. What else have I got to tell you? I don't know. That's it. Let's get started. This is the mini waffle maker, right? It's like, look at that little heart. It's so cute. So I'm excited to try this. I also think that I could make some other things with this. I've heard of people making like crab cakes in their waffle makers, or making like hash brown patties in there. So we'll see how this serves me in the next few months. But for today, it's making waffles. And I'm gonna get out my regular waffle maker to make waffles as well. The other thing is, if I peter out tonight, which I might do at some point, then this batter keeps pretty well in the fridge, and these bowls have got lids, so I can just stick a lid on this and put it in my extra fridge, because that's the only fridge that I have room for it. And then I could start again tomorrow, or the kids can give me a hand tomorrow because they like to do things like make waffles. So yeah, okay, let's get going. Now, this is my mom's waffle maker in its original box. So, no idea how old it is, but I've kept the original box because I just like the nostalgia of it. This was the waffle maker that my mom used when I was growing up. So, yeah, kind of has sentimental value for me. Of course, it's not as shiny and new as my heart-shaped one, but it does the job, and this waffle maker and I go way back. So I have to tell you that I normally never use the oil. I always use the melted butter, but tonight I'm really tired, and I just thought it would save me a step if I didn't have to melt butter, which it did. So that's what we're going with. So I'm not sure if I'll like it quite as much, because I think in general butter's the way to go. But we're gonna give it a try, and I'm sure they'll be delicious regardless. Now, when you're making waffles to freeze, the same things apply as for pancakes. You want to put them on a cookie sheet, freeze the cookie sheet flat in, single layer on a cookie sheet, and then you're gonna pop them out. Once they're frozen, put them in freezer bags, and that way they won't stick together. And waffles are great because you can just pop them in the toaster or the toaster oven, and it's like, much better than the freezer waffles that you can buy in the store, and better for you also. And then they're nice and fresh. So let's try this little heart-shaped one first, because it's way more fun. Okay, I put too much waffle batter in there. It is not going to be a heart. It's going to be like a circle that has a little heart imprint in it. But I'll get the hang of it. So today for our breakfast meals, we made, let's see, 40 large pancakes, 60 breakfast cookies, 18 breakfast sandwiches, 8 mini breakfast quesadillas, 2 family-size hash brown casseroles, and however many waffles we end up with this doubled recipe. So I will put all of the recipes and the links to recipes down in the description below. Be sure to join me next week when Christy and I do our mega freezer meal marathon to fill our freezers for months and months. We will have some fun in store for that. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. It's been a lot of fun, although my energy level is dropping. I will see you next time, and happy cooking.